That was live in the studios of TraxxFM. We are with the band Break of Reality right here in the last interview feature of the day, and of course the last hour of the morning show. It is of course Nigel the Green Man, Kong Yu with you, as well as the members from the band. Well, introducing to the Malaysian audiences, Andrew Jans, who
Hello.
joins us. Hi, as well as Patrick Laird.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, got to readjust those mics there. Also in the studio, Ivan Trevino.
Hello.
Hi, Ivan. As well as, last but not least, Laura Metcalf.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
It's good to have you here in Malaysia. Well, that was pretty awesome. And that's actually taken off a very, very popular show, isn't it?
It is.
That's right. It's super popular. I mean, I'm being understated here. That was your take and your interpretation on the theme from Game of Thrones.
Yes, one of our favorite shows.
Favorite shows of many others around the world as well. Well, welcome to Malaysia. This is the first time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. We're
thank
happy
you.
to be here.
We've been here for about 7 hours.
Nice. What time did you guys arrive?
2 a.m. last night.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Wow. Okay, then straight into media interviews. Are we the first? Are we?
Yes,
We're the first.
you're
The
Yeah.
first
Nice.
thing, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on board the show. Let's talk about a bit about you guys. I mean, you guys have had sold out concerts in North America, South America, Europe, and Asia as well. First time in Malaysia, I believe.
Yes, for
Right.
the very first time.
One of the world's premier alternative classical chamber ensembles. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing. You have a we'll talk a little bit about your sound. It's a signature cello rock. That's how you would actually describe it. Bridging the gap between classical rock as well as world music listeners. And and you guys are also the music ambassadors by the U.S. State Department.
Yeah, that's right. That's part of the reason why we're here on this trip is through the American Music Abroad program.
And what are you going to be doing here in Malaysia?
Well, we're going to be playing a concert tonight, which we're really excited about. It'll feature some of our cello rock sounds. We'll play the Game of Thrones theme. But I'll also be on a big drum set. We'll have a big, loud kind of rock concert.
There
It'll be
you
great.
go.
Yeah,
As compared to your little one over there you had just now,
exactly.
right?
This is just a taste.
That's just a little of a taste of what's to come tonight anyway. Well, where is it going to be tonight? At the embassy itself?
At the Bentley Theater?
At the Bentley Theater at the embassy itself, right? Fantastic. Okay, come closer, guys, to the microphones. Don't worry, because they got the instruments in their hands, folks, as we speak to them right now. Break of Reality. Welcome to Malaysia. Welcome to TraxxFM. It's good to have you guys here. I'm so excited that classical music has been given a real good breath of fresh air, new life to it. A lot of people play these instruments and then they give up along the way because they don't find the excitement in them. I think you guys actually went a step further and you've gotten the young ones all interested into classical music all over again. So hats off for you guys over there. I won't do that because I'm bald, but yeah,
You can still take your hat off.
right.
Nothing wrong with
This
that.
is radio.
But it is. It's so exciting that you guys are playing tunes like that, and I'm sure you all started off as traditional musicians who would have played the pieces of all the famous players of all the whatever it is, Bach and all those people that
Yeah.
you've
That's
played.
actually kind of how we started because we were at a classical music conservatory and all we were doing all day was playing classical music. But a couple of us at the school were also really into rock music, so kind of, in secret behind our teachers' backs, we were kind of jamming out to Metallica and that sort of thing. And so that's how this whole thing started.
Well, maybe you can introduce yourselves and tell us about the instrument you play.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll begin with the lady. Yeah, the thorn among the roses.
Hello, my name is Laura Metcalf. I play the cello, like two other people in this band. We are actually on tour with carbon fiber cellos. So they're not made out of wood, which cellos are traditionally, and they're made out of carbon fiber. They're indestructible.
Wow, that's like Formula One technology.
Wow.
Yes, they're very, very cool, and we can put them under the plane and trust that they will be intact when we arrive at our destinations.
Well, how different is this one from the one that you started off playing?
I still play a wood cello most of the time. This is different in that it doesn't resonate exactly like a wood cello, but it's very good when you put a mic on it. It projects really well, and because we're all playing identical instruments, we're able to blend really well as a band. So that's a huge advantage of the
Can you plug that one in? Can you plug it in too?
We can put a mic on
Only
it.
a mic, right? So you don't plug it in as per like those other ones, right? You wouldn't get a good sound out of it.
There's still acoustic instruments, yes.
Still acoustic, yeah. So wow, carbon fiber these days already, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Not just for planes or high-tech objects,
Yes.
but a classical instrument like the cello.
right. Then there's Ivan.
Yes, I play the djembe, and I'm also the percussionist in the band. So I play a variety of different percussion instruments. And I've been playing in this band. Patrick and I started it about 13
He
years
just used
ago.
the force on you.
Yeah, I know, it was amazing.
Right.
So yeah, I've been playing the drums all my life. I started when I was just a little baby. And at music school, Patrick said, I want to start a cello rock band. And I thought that sounded really weird. And I said yes, and we've been doing it ever since.
Right.
There you
so
go.
rock band and what were your influences like when you were playing drums?
Oh, all over the board. People like Steve Gadd, for example, who plays a lot with Paul Simon and Eric Clapton. He's probably my favorite drummer. But John Bonham, all the way up to, I don't know, like who plays... Even like Dave Grohl, when he was playing with Nirvana, he was a big inspiration for me. So
Right.
it's really all across the board.
So John Bonham and his little hand solo on the drums would have let you know that you could release the drumsticks and get
Yes,
into
exactly.
fantastic.
Have you learned to play the cello?
I can only
It's pretty good.
I can only play like pizzicato, like with my finger,
Right.
because I play guitar. So I can do that part, but
Right.
as soon as you put a bow in my hand, I sound terrible. So I let them do the cello.
Hey, you can
playing.
still do the plucking, that pizzicato, as you said.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's Patrick.
Yes, yeah. I started this instrument when I was 9 years old, and I've always loved it dearly, and I've loved classical music as well. But growing up, in high school, my friends were all metalheads, and they were all into rock music, and we were living right outside of New York City, so I would see all these amazing concerts, super high energy, with the lights going, and from that age, I think I always kind of, a part of me wishes I was a guitarist, but at the same time, I don't think I would ever give up this instrument because it's an incredible instrument. So when I got to school and met Ivan and we started this thing, I think this group was an opportunity to combine those two worlds, and I think that's what I love about what we do.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm
Andrew?
Andrew Jans. I am the newest member of the band. I've been touring with these guys for 3 or 4 years now, and I actually started out as purely a classical cellist. But the guy who used to play in the band, we actually switched. He's now playing in this classical string quartet that I was playing in, and I'm playing with Break of Reality. And it's been awesome for me because I also grew up listening to pop music.
Well, who's making more money now?
Wait, Brooke, are you listening right now? But it's been awesome because I also still love classical music. I still play classical music, but there's been a disconnect between what used to be an improvised culture in classical music, and now it's just purely performing, sheet music.
Right.
And it's an unfortunate thing because I joined the band and we improvise at every concert, and that's such a freeing and kind of inspiring thing and a terrifying thing at first, but really like opens up an entire new world of musicianship for us. So I still love both, but this has been an awesome opportunity for me to play with these guys.
Fantastic.
Okay, that's a nice. You guys basically play everything then. It's classical, not quite. It's alternative rock, somewhat, and you still play around with like improvisation. So it's also jazz. A little bit of that, and of course you've got the percussionist of the group giving you some rhythms and beats there. So it's nice, a whole gamut of things. What do you go freeform, completely sort of freeform at all at any time?
I think for whenever we're improvising, we always try to improvise a song, as Andrew mentioned earlier, and that is entirely, free. Most of the other time, I think, given the nature of the cello and how easy it is to not sound cohesive in the group. I think we play most of our things kind of as pre-written, but yeah, we do pretty much a little bit of everything, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like we don't use music stands. There's no barrier between us and the audience, and I think that's really important. And that's one thing that we learned from rock music, kind of opening up the space.
Right.
And then we wear normal clothes too.
Yeah.
We don't wear tuxedos.
And there's no
or
conductor
anything.
standing up there and telling you what to do. And
Yes,
is that
exactly.
like, I mean, you would have played in with the whole orchestra. You would have had people.
Yeah.
That being free right now, right? Like you said, right?
Yeah.
How's that done? What's that done for your music? You feel that you've been able to explore a lot more, or you feel that there are
Yes,
those who might work better with the whole orchestra, or
When you're playing with an orchestra, kind of your goal is to fit into the section, is to blend with the other players as seamlessly as possible, and to kind of do exactly what the conductor is showing you. Whereas in this group, we all have our own voice, and we're able to bring our own kind of way of playing into the group. So, I mean, there is an element that we all have to sort of match with each other and listen to each other and communicate with each other, but we all are able to contribute our own voice as well. And I think that's the great thing about chamber music.
right?
And coming from we all come from a classical conservatory background. I think that kind of rigorous education is still just subconsciously with us. No matter how free we get, we still have that kind of that amount of practice that we did over the first 20 years of our lives. It's always there.
I think our real freedom too comes in our writing as well. We write a lot of our own music, and so we don't draw inspiration from any specific thing. We try to be as creative as possible in our original music.
All right, so for those just listening in, Break of Reality. I was going to read that. Break of Reality in the studios of Trax over here. They've got a concert tonight at the, where was that again tonight?
The Bentley?
Bentley.
The Bentley
at
at
the
the
embassy.
At the U.S. Embassy. Is that? And then there's another one that's coming up. It's on Saturday, the 14th of January 2017, at the JKKN Kota Kinabalu in Sabah, and you're going to be visiting one of the loveliest places in Malaysia as well. Sabah is a lovely place to be at. They've got lovely people over there, so go over there and what do you say when you go up on stage? Break a leg, rock the crowd. What do you do?
Break of reality.
Break of
Break of Reality. All right, so Break of Reality in the studios of TraxxFM over here. We're so happy to have you guys over here. Now, what else is there? What else do you play? I mean, look, what are the songs that we've heard just now? Are you going to play us another song in a bit? We heard you play.
We played the Game of Thrones theme
Thrones.
song, and maybe now we'll play an original song.
An
This is a
original
piece
one that-
called "Solid Ground."
Solid Ground?
that Patrick composed.
Right. What was the whole inspiration behind on Solid Ground, Patrick?
I think for this tune, it's pretty varied. So it goes through a number of emotions from the very beginning that starts, more in a classical reserve style, and gets, to be through all these emotions gets to be pretty intense. But at the end, one hopefully feels on solid ground, and that's how it gets its name.
That's nice. Okay, so we're going to go to an ID and then we'll come back with that on solid ground right here, right?
was amazing.
I'm gonna sell that
I- I got the chills. I got the chills listening to that. It's something about live music, especially live music done so well. Speaking to the band A Break of Reality, who are in Malaysia for a couple of reasons. Of course, most important is, of course, to spread the cheer of music and also to share with us their signature cello rock sound, bridging gap between classical rock as well as world music. Listeners, awesome stuff. We are speaking, of course, to Andrew, Patrick, Ivan, and also Laura right here on the morning show with myself, Kong Yu, and also the Green Man.
I'm so glad there is you. I'm so glad for all of you over here, honestly. And then, when you were playing that piece over there, it's like, you think it's going to be over, and then all of a sudden somebody else decides, no, I'm going to let this go. It's like, all right, it's my turn now. And he comes in, and then you come in, and then he comes in, and she comes in. And it's like...
song's actually an hour long.
It is. Are you serious? I wouldn't be surprised. I think you could. But, yeah, really, really nice. And then there's that little bit where you go... Yes, and what's that about? Does that happen at every show?
Well, I think that's just part of kind of a byproduct of communication. So in order for us to play, really tightly, we breathe a lot, to give kind of visual and breathing cues.
Right.
So that's what you hear, and it ends up being, I think, kind of.
So
a
without
big part
your
of our
instruments,
sound.
you're all walking instruments already, also by yourselves. You're like
Absolutely.
Michael Jackson with his and all that stuff going on over there.
Absolutely.
Really, really nice to watch you. I wish I could be watching them live and with all with your complete setup.
Well, we just did. Well, not with a complete setup, but we got a pretty good taste.
Right.
To that.
Do you have some
We got the
shakers in
chills.
there and stuff when it goes
No,
on?
just loud drums.
Just loud drums all the way.
On our albums, there's some stuff.
Yeah?
Some shakers and percussion.
You have some shakers and stuff.
Yeah.
What's your drum set like? I mean, what drum set are you
Well,
using?
I don't know which one I'm going to be playing today, to be honest.
What's
when
your
we
favorite?
traveled, I play on a Pearl Masters Custom.
Nice.
It's a 5-piece, and I'm a Zildjian cymbals artist, so I play Zildjian cymbals.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it the group's decision to add a percussionist? I mean, because I guess to get that sort of, you got to get a groove going thing, and you got to add a percussionist to the band. Was that the whole idea behind it, or was there a consideration to not have somebody keep time and avert rhythms like that?
Yeah, there was a consideration of that when we started. In fact, we didn't have Ivan for about, 6 months, but that's all it took before we realized that, we really needed that element. If we're going to be playing this music that's so rhythmic and so rock driven, you can't get the same idea across without some sort of percussion. And Ivan just kind of was there at the right time, and he's a huge rocker, so we hit it off right from the beginning.
Right. And do you, when you start off on the cello, do you have to start with classical cello? Is there an alternative cello class that people can
Not-
take?
I mean, pretty much when you start cello, it's the classics. Because,
If you want to be good.
Yeah, the reason for that is that the technique of the cello, whether we're playing rock music or whether we're playing Bach, it's the same basic technique physically to play the instrument. And without that sort of foundation, we wouldn't be able to play the music that we play now. So we had to put in our 10,000 hours or more.
We're still putting that
We're
time
still
in.
putting the time in. We still practice scales and Bach and classical music every single day to maintain our technique.
Right. Yeah, one of the interesting things I was reading quite a while back was how, when the difference between a classically trained musician and a jazz musician, because, Green and I we've got quite a lot of music interests between the two of us. In different fields, in different ways, yeah. And they speak about how when you are in a classical ensemble, you're always waiting for the director's cue. So when you try to play in a band, just following the instinct and the feel of direction of where the band is going, that's a challenge, because you always have that it's always like that small little half beat behind as you're waiting for the conductor's baton. Yeah, is that true? And how have you adapted to playing?
That is the danger of orchestra work. I think when we were in classical music conservatory, all of us were more drawn towards the chamber music aspect. So it's the same size of a band, but classical music playing string quartets, where it's like, Haydn wrote 68 string quartets, Beethoven wrote 16 string, and these are all like amazing pieces of music. And the same rules apply to a rock band as a chamber ensemble. You're still trying to read each other's minds. You're still trying to adjust and be present in the moment, somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed and they've got a different idea how they're going to play. You have to be able to be adaptive.
Yeah.
In the moment,
and things happen much more quicker and precisely with an ensemble of this side versus an orchestra. What you're talking about, people kind of come in after the downbeat, but here, we're kind of all on the same pulse and more on the front of the beat.
Nice.
Wow, I'm just listening to them. So there are no shortcuts. You were saying, going back on what you were saying, so no shortcuts, right? If you got to learn an instrument, you got to pick it up all the way, right?
Yes, you have to put in your time
Right.
at some point in your life to master the instrument completely, because what we play, even in this band, it can be challenging, and you can't just sort of pick it up and figure it out yourself.
That's
and,
right.
And also, I mean, the cello is it's a fretless instrument, so we have a huge part of the practicing is learning where the fingers have to go every
It's all
single
got to be
time,
feel all the way.
because it can get pretty nasty pretty quick if you don't have a finger and you don't know where you're going.
And at our live shows, even though we play rock music and we improvise, we still play a piece by Bach. We still play a piece by Villa-Lobos. We still respect our classical training, and we incorporate that into our set as well, because it's really important, and it's really beautiful music.
Right. And do you hurt your eyes when you rub your eyes, because your fingers have got to be very, very strong, seeing what they go through all the time. I mean, is that like a little
We
bit
have
like,
to be super conscious to rub very lightly.
Right.
Otherwise, the extremely strong fingers will.
right? So it's
just
not a good
gouge.
idea to be listening to music while you're doing it, right?
That's
Don't
right.
scratch your eyes when you're listening when you're listening to music. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Wow.
remember the last time I felt the tips of my fingers.
Opening soda cans, you just have to be careful that the whole thing just doesn't explde in front of you. Yeah.
Right,
It's a-
right.
it's a difficult
Advice
thing.
to a lot of Malaysian parents send their kids for music lessons, but a lot of them just it just ends off somewhere along the way. Kids tend to lose interest, maybe because of boring teachers, maybe because of whatever it is it could be. What would you suggest?
Well, I think it's important to find your source of inspiration, and I think we're lucky to be able to show a lot of young musicians that you don't necessarily just have to do classical music, although we encourage definitely a strong focus in the classical, music world in terms of, foundation on the instrument, but I think it's definitely also not for everybody. I mean, it takes a huge amount of determination, and I think in the end it is worth it. I mean, it's an incredible thing to be able to play an instrument at a high level, but it does take an incredible amount of determination. And even in our country, in the United States, most students who play music will have a great time with it, but will not become professional musicians for that reason. That it's a lifetime of dedication.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that's one thing we try to preach all the time to these students is, a lot of younger people are so used to having things so easy. They press a button on their phone and they have this whole thing at their disposal. But with cello or classical instruments, it takes like a time frame. Every day you practice a little bit, every day until you get to a certain point. But that's harder for some kids, so maybe playing rock music will help that.
That's right. That's right. It's a lot more exciting. Done in collaborations? Any work with video games or anything like that? Because there are video games like League of Legends, for example.
Yeah.
Very exciting music in League of Legends as well sometimes. And have you done anything like that?
We've done a fair amount for film and TV, that sort of thing. I think video. You're absolutely right, and I don't think we found the right publisher to be able to pitch to those companies. It's a very difficult thing to get into that world, but I think it would lend itself well, and we would definitely be open to it if there are any video game programmers listening. You can give us a ring.
Right, because it's true. Now you watch the kids and they come off playing a video game and they walk away and they've got this tune in their head and they're humming it, and it's a piece that's it's not your typical pop song or anything like that, and that's something where I see how this influence that you guys are passing on to people now is something that we should take our hats off to.
Yeah, because I mean these
these
guys are pretty well known on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Pandora. And that's I think that's what we're talking about here. I mean, that's the way to actually sort of get people to be more appreciative of and want to play, say, classical music, play an instrument like the cello, and everything is to be really visible and to be accessible, isn't it? And share with us some of your social media tips, as it were?
Yeah, well, I think I don't know if this band would be around if it was 10 or 15 years ago, before social media really took off, because we can reach a worldwide audience, with video and social media posts and that sort of thing. And I don't know if there's necessarily a path that's to perfection on social media. I think everybody needs to find their own voice in their own way. If you try to do, if another cello rock band, for instance, does exactly what we did, they won't find the same success just as much as we won't have the same success following other artists doing what they did. But we found a lot of new viewers through YouTube with our Game of Thrones cover, for instance, which has like 14 million views now.
Way to go.
Wow.
And that's just been an amazing thing, for us. And we find these little gems and these little ways to connect with audiences through sharing our music on YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, and like our band, we don't have a record label or big management representation. That we are the record label. So places like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram or whatever else give us an outlet to people that we maybe usually wouldn't reach.
Right.
Yeah, Green, where's your YouTube page?
Mine?
Yeah.
Forget it. Not after this, man. Not after this. One of the most exciting interviews I've had in a long time. Thank you so much.
All right, it's definitely interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the tour. You will be, of course, performing at a couple of concerts. Yeah, the first one tonight at the Bentley Auditorium, that's in Mutiara Damansara, and then later on this Saturday at the in Kota Kinabalu, a lovely, lovely place, at the JKKN KK in Sabah. Yeah, what's happening on this tour, and how has it been like touring the world?
Well, we were in Okinawa, Japan last week.
Oh,
Last
must
week
have been fabulous,
it was
isn't it?
wonderful. Yes. So we're on tour this whole month of January. Following here, we're headed to Seoul, Korea, and Mongolia and the Philippines. So we're gonna be in a total of 5 countries. Which is just an incredible thing for us, and we'd get to sort of experience these other cultures and share our music. When the biggest thing we realize when we're doing these tours is that like music really can communicate through language barriers and through any other sort of barrier. It's a pretty amazing thing to see how people react to our music all over the world. So we feel very lucky to be able to do this.
Fantastic.
One of the best parts about this particular tour is that since we're going through the State Department, they're able to help us collaborate in each country we go to with local artists, and those can be traditional artists playing traditional instruments from the country, or for this concert tonight, we're playing with a local singer, and
She plays the
Sape.
sape.
yeah, so we're going straight from here to rehearsal with that, and we have no idea what to expect, but it's always been our favorite part of the tour, just meeting local musicians, realizing how much we have in common with them, even if we don't speak a word of their language or they don't speak a word of ours. Somehow there's always a way to communicate, and that's been true in every continent and every country, and it's been beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you guys speak music, so that's a language in itself already.
Which makes the world go round. Music, can't live without it, right?
Right.
Have you guys played for President Trump yet?
President-elect.
Okay.
No.
No.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we will.
Right. So what's up next for Break of Reality? What are your plans? What's the future going to be like?
We have a collaboration that we're working on right now with a well-known Turkish composer. So we'll be collaborating with him on an album release. Shortly after, we've been talking about some new, compositions of our own that we would like to release, and we're definitely going to continue focusing on social media and our video releases and that sort of thing. But we hope to tour as much as we can internationally and continue that. So we do, whatever we can, and we're going to continue chugging along and see where it takes us.
Lovely. We wish you all the best and all success.
Thank you.
And playing rock music all together, and then because rock, you always have those distortions and all kinds of gadgets, and everybody's got to be loud and stuff like that. But you make instruments that a lot of people used to call boring, very, very exciting, and just as rockish, if not even more rockish than a lot of rock instruments.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man.
speaking of rock music, we'll play one more tune.
Please do.
This would be a cover of a Radiohead song called "Burn the Witch." It's off
All
of their
right.
latest record.
And
okay?
Burn the Witch we will, yes.
Here we go. Break of Reality, of course, in town for a concert tonight at the Wisma Bentley Auditorium, and in Kota Kinabalu at the JKKN Kota Kinabalu Sabah this Saturday the 14th. Here we go. And of course, it's a goodbye from the Green Man and myself on the morning show.
But we'll burn the witch first.
That's right. Stay tuned. Tracks Momentum coming up at 10 after the news updates. Here we go.